Dr. N. Vijayaditya has a master's degree in computer science from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and a PhD in information systems from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, USA. His research areas include pattern recognition, graph theory, information systems, and networks. He has been chairman and member of several advisory committees of eminent academic and research institutions like Scientific Advisory Group of the Division of Publication and Information of Indian Council of Medical Research, New Delhi, All India Board of Postgraduate Education and Research in Engineering and Technology, AICTE, and Special Committee of the School of Information Technology of JNU, to mention a few. He is a Fellow of National Academy of Sciences as well as IETE. He has been a chairman and member of Project Review and Monitoring Committee, GOI, Core Group on Standards for E-Governance, Project Management Board of DRDO, Biotechnology Information Systems Coordinators of Department of Biotechnology, Committee on Data for Science and Technology, Indian National Sciences Academy, National IT Task Force, Task Force for India's Development and Knowledge Society, to mention a few. He has been a member of Executive Committee, Center for Railway Information Systems, Ministry of Railways, New Delhi. He was also chairman, India-Russia Working Group on Technology and India-Kazakhstan Working Group on Information Technology. He has been a member of the subgroup on Information Sciences, Indo-US Joint Commission 1986, and a member of the Indian delegation to Ministerial Conference of the Global Information Society, Midrag, South Africa, 1996. Some of his major projects include computerization of 1982 Asian Games, satellite-based data communication network for NIC-AVT of NIC, telematics development and promotion program, that is Integrated Network Operations Center at Delhi, data center with cluster servers and SAN to provide anywhere and anytime 24/7 data service and disaster recovery center at Hyderabad. As Director General of National Informatics Center, he was responsible for supervising implementation of several e-governance projects at the center and states. He is also a recipient of various prestigious awards like 2001 BuzzFeed Award in recognition of his contribution in the area of information and communication technology from Vivid Lakshi Ayuddhayik Samashodhan Vikas Kendra, Mumbai, Scott Challenger 2005 Award for ICT Man of the Year, Bhu Vikas Samman for Lifetime Excellence from Bhu Vigyan Vikas Foundation, New Delhi, Oracle E-Governance Award for leading the change for implementation of e-governance projects, and Special Achievements in GIS Awards like Making a Difference in People's Life at ESRI User Conference at San Diego, USA. So we are extremely privileged to have a stalwart like you amongst us today. So now may I invite Dr. Vijayaditya for the keynote address. Please welcome him once again with a huge round of applause.
Thank you. Dr. Murthy, Dr. Sharat Chandra, Mrs. Agrawal, Mrs. Rekha Sarawat, and participants. Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to share one of the topics which I've been dealing for a long time. I'm passionate about the information security and happens to work on quite a few areas related to the information security, quadrics and mathematics, encryption mechanisms, Bose Chaudhary codes, lots of those things, you name it. I happens to work on some research work in those areas. In today's world, where our mobile is becoming a lifeline and all our information is on the net, we participate actively in the social networks and life depends on it, basically, if I may say so. In this process, when using these various technologies, mobile or internet or any social network which you are considering, we are sharing a lot of information. We're showing our identity, we're showing our characteristics, we're showing them what you do, where you do, how you do that. These are all the things to be shared. And you may think we are sharing with your friends, but everyone else knows that it's a public secret. If I may use the word, all your information is a public secret. It's available to you, whoever wants to snoop into it, that particular thing. So in that particular world, you are trying to do a lot of your personal as well as financial transactions onto the system. Security becomes very, very vital. You want to preserve yourself. You want to preserve your privacy. You want to preserve your financial transactions. You preserve whatever you want to do that. In the olden world, where we have been using the pen and the paper, and everything has been signed, and your signature is supposed to be unique in this particular thing. By the way, there is no definition called signature. I don't know whether you know anything about it. Any piece of, if you put a tick mark and a call it signature, the government accepts it. You cannot reject it. You can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because if you say this is my signature, you can say that it's your signature. But there's no definition of signature that exists. So anything you say this is my signature, people have to accept it. And all your financial transactions, legal transactions, property transactions are all, with just this particular signature of yours to do the particular transaction. Later on, once proved validity, this is mine. The reason because signature is supposed to be unique, is identified the individual, and it authenticates that individual transaction. It says, I know it, I read it, I verify that. That's what it says. When you put a signature on a piece of paper, you're saying, I read it, I know it, I understand it, and I verify that particular transaction is concerned. That's what you say in signature. That's the reason in the banking just olden times, when you put something, make a mistake on the bank check, usually you're asked to, if you want to modify it, you're asked to sign again. But nowadays Reserve Bank rejects it. You cannot do any transaction, any modification on the check. So it is rejected automatically. But one time, you're permitted to make changes, put your signature, the initial or a signature, what short time, long time, whatever signature is concerned, you can do that. That's what it is to do. Basically, when you put your signature on a piece of paper, you are saying that I read it. That's the first fundamental thing. I understand it. And I authenticate whatever is it. And tomorrow, I'm not going to repudiate whatever I have said about it. That's what the meaning of a signature if you put on a piece of paper. When you transfer these physical things into the virtual world, you have to ensure the same thing has to be achieved. Otherwise, it doesn't serve any purpose. So you want to achieve the same identity of the individual. There's a person who says he is the same guy. He is me who is signing that particular piece of paper. That's what you have to say in the network. Maybe user word, password, whatever you want username is, maybe you say this is my identity or whatever you say that. And similarly, you have to authenticate yourself. This is me which has signed that. This is V Vijayaditya which has signed that particular thing. That's what you need to authenticate. And tomorrow, you also say that when I send an email, with my signature, whatever with the email address, whatever say, I do not repudiate whatever written in that particular email. That's what I think. Repudiation is a very, very vital. If you repudiate everything, whatever email goes, and it's not mine, somebody has copied it, somebody has changed it, like it happened in the Asian Games, correct? Asian Games, somebody did a taxi transactions using the email and say, it's not mine, somebody has modified it. But with cut and paste technology, everything is possible. You can change anything, you can add anything, you can subtract anything. That's possible to do that. That's what we need to thank the Windows for that particular technology, Microsoft, which has given us cut and paste technology. Within cut and paste technology, how do you make sure, though it is signed by me, though I have sent it to my mailbox, somebody has removed certain words or added new words to that, how do you say that it's not been modified, that particular thing to do that? That becomes very, very vital. So when a legal sanctity is given to a particular piece of paper, because Information Technology Act very clearly says anything is done electronically is authenticated document. That's what the IT Information Technology says. The transactions on the internet is what is legally valid. So in a particular word, how do you know that particular thing has not been modified? This is the basis which led to the invention of the digital signatures. That's what it is. Digitally sign the particular document to do that. It's become very important. What is the big deal about it? Because I put my signature there, cut and sign a piece of paper, and I copy it, cut and paste it in a particular document. So it's also a signature. It's a digital signature, right? Because it's been converted, my signature has been converted in digital format. That's not the digital signature which says it. Because anything that is signed using the particular has to be non-repudiated. For example, in cut and paste technology, I use particular judgment to the particular thing. As a CCI to give certain judgments. If you give some particular judgment and my signature is there, and tomorrow somebody changes the particular piece of paper on the internet, how do you know that this is what it is supposed to be? So it's want to ensure the content is there. So for that, we invented what is called the encryption mechanism. Encryption is a basic technology that uses the digital signature to ensure that what is written be in that. So how do you want? I can take a piece of paper and encrypt it. 1, 2, 3, 4 is my basic code. I will then put it. But if the particular basic code is known, somebody else can do the same thing. So you need to protect that particular piece of encryption mechanism which you are doing it. And there is a lots of algorithms are used, and the algorithms are being extensively permitted by the what are being permitted by the digital signature is being mentioned in the information technology act, and Harsha Prabha gives you these are the algorithms which are accepted. This is the standards which you follow. This is the way which you can encrypt it. This is the way you can decrypt it. These are all various processes are given there. And when they give that particular encryption code to you, they also follow procedure associated particular individual. So if I take a digital signature, which is basically an encryption mechanism which we try to do, that's the code which is given to it is associated to me. And CCA certificate, this is associated to Dr. N. Vijayaditya. That's what it says. So tomorrow somebody says, no, if a Vijayaditya says it's not signed by me, she will say, no, it is your signature as per the law is concerned, and her word becomes the legal, what is it called, conclusion that it is my signature and nobody else's signature. That's basically what she does, basically ensure that particular signature is associated individual, and tomorrow he cannot repudiate anything which has digitally signed. So digital signature is the particular. Encryption is the basic technology. But as you know, in mathematics, there is nothing called any algorithm can be broken at any time. It's a matter of life. Every algorithm has a limited life. So one of the responsibilities of CCA is to make sure that algorithms are when they are broken, what is the life of the algorithm, how long it will be kept, how long you have to keep using the algorithm. Those are one of the processes which CCA does, so that the algorithms are, if they they're expected to be broken, then they will change the algorithm and say, this is not the algorithm I'm going to use, this is the new algorithm which you have to use. They will monitor it. Similarly, the size of the code is concerned, they will also monitor the size of code, because it again can be broken up, and that's how they change the code to 1024 to 2048 bits. So that's one of the regulatory mechanisms to monitor the algorithm's life, how long it will be persistent, how long it will remain there, etc. are done by them. That is the reason, in fact, we discontinued anything to 1024 bits about a couple of years back, and the new 2048 bits which has been used supposed to have 15 years long duration. We continuously monitor it. That's how basically looked at it, so that what should be the length of the key, what should be the algorithm which has to be used. These are the fundamental principles which are used in the digital signature. Digital signature, basically some people say it's very difficult, it's very complicated, because security, remember that, it's a convenience versus security. Convenience is one extreme and security is the other extreme. So you need to work out a compromise by which the people can conveniently, if I'm again using word in a loose sense, conveniently use this particular signature in all his transaction. Doesn't take too much time, he should be able to do it. So these signatures are associated individual, and what they do is they will issue what is called for each individual. When you go and approach, authenticate yourself or KYC, whatever you do, that they associate, allow you to create your own key. Remember that. Another fundamental fact in this particular digital signature is the key is generated by you. Because if somebody generates the key, he knows what the key is all about it. So again, the security is learned. I can say it's not mine, because he generated, he knows a copy of my key is available to him. So we reject it. So I can repudiate the particular. So the CCA will ensure that key is generated by the individual who wants a particular digital. That's a fundamental principle which you have to remember. So the key is generated by you, the key is owned by you, the key is kept by you. One of the principal factors which you have to take care when you take a digital signature, there are two portions of that. One is a private key, another is a public key. The public key is basically in the public domain. The private key is kept in the individual. Sometimes we have the tendency, as usual, everything we keep in laptops or we keep the mobile phones and everything. That's again a dangerous, because in Information Technology Act, anything signed with your private key is attached to you. Any transaction that has been done, and any legal or illegal transaction has been done by you, will be associated to you. You will be liable for whatever the sins or commissions, omissions which you have committed using the particular. So it's very important that you keep your digital key in a highly secure manner. That's the reason we keep our digital key in what is called crypto tokens. That's one of the fundamental things which are crypto tokens is the mechanism which we generate your key, store your private key, and the key cannot be copied from the crypto token. And whenever you want to do a transaction, introduce the crypto token to do that. And people say, why should I buy crypto token? It's very expensive. It costs me money. But crypto token can be generated very easy. Today technologies are available to you to do that. One of the research work which has been done is you can generate your crypto key on your mobile phone itself by using another SIM card, not exactly the same card, crypto SIM card which can be used along with your SIM card. So you can generate your digital signature, your private key, store the private key in that, and any transactions can be performed using that particular crypto SIM card, and the transaction can become this one mechanism of cutting the cost and can be used. So, but anyway, the digital private key has to be kept in a very secure and highly non-accessible mechanism for others. That's one of the fundamental. Most of the people have a tendency of keeping that. There are lots of cases which has happened. It will create, and the liability will be yours where you have generated. So this is another aspect of taking care of this. Today, digital signatures are used in a variety of applications because it provides you security. And whatever you signed on that particular this thing is legally valid for a long period of time. It can be archived and can be retrieved and can be associated. And as I said, another thing which also the CCA does in regulations is that the digital signature is valid only for 3 years. Not what you have signed previously. Previously it is valid forever. But what you sign, your digital signature validity will be period of 3 years depending upon the individual, 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. There is a mechanism which they associated, and this particular signature is issued to you. So we'll say, why should I take a digital signature every year and it will cost me 200 rupees to 1000 rupees to 3000 rupees, depends upon the market convenience. People charge you for that particular thing. But the reason is there are possibilities it can be changed. So there is a limit which is associated with the particular thing. That was the reason the CCA gives only digital signature for individual for a period of 3 years, for organization for a period of 3 years, depends upon. And it also can be done in today. There are various applications which you can load at. For example, company transactions, MCA uses the digital signature digitally signed, and I find it quite a few people use it for income tax filing, whether you file income tax through net or not. If you file using a digital signature, you don't have to submit a physical copy of that. But if you only send it electronically and don't use the digital signature, you have to physically sign it. So this is digital signature used only in income tax form. But quite a few people have found in chartered accountant having lots of digital signatures with them for all their companies which are there. But they don't recognize any transaction which is done by a company secretary using this digital is liable to that particular company, to that particular individual, because this signature is issued to individual, is not issued to a company. Remember that, because person has to be identified, then only after doing a full KYC, then only digital key is generated, private key is generated. So you cannot give it an organization. CDAC cannot get a digital signature, but director of CDAC can get it. And then you ask me, if director of CDAC changes the key, are you going to pass on the digital? There is a procedure which needs to be worked out. I think there is an algorithm or the mechanism, the process which has to be created so that the transfer of this thing takes place. If, for example, this problem is came because in Government of India, the secretaries have the digital signatures. Some of them have it, not all of them. Because these postings takes place differently. Suppose he was Secretary, Department of Information Technology, and he transferred to Home Ministry or something like that, what will happen to the digital signature? Usually it's supposed to be handed over back to the thing, a new digital signature has to be created. Some people say it's very inconvenient, but legally it is not permitted to transfer your digital signature from one place to another place. The digital signature is not issued to organization, digital signature do not give any particular designation, digital signature is issued only to the individual, and that is associated particular transaction. So this you have to remember that you cannot transfer your digital signature to somebody else, because any signature that has been issued, the particular person, individual, he is legally bound whether he uses it or somebody uses. So it's some of the important aspects which he has to do. But in this digital world, when you go on to that particular thing, the banks are supposed to use the digital signature. Some banks use it for high level transactions, for high value customers. And within the bank itself, they use the digital transaction. All the managers have a digital signature to that. But when it comes to individual, they don't use it because they say it costs money, and they'll ask you to use user number, password, and all those things, which doesn't provide you security. This is the least security that provides you is the password or OTP or any one of these things. Similar schemes which have been created, they do not have the same legal validity like the validity which have the digital signature. So remember, it's a world in the digital space or virtual space that provides you security and identity for you and also protects you from various expressions. In fact, as far as the US government is concerned, digital signature is the highest level of security one can provide on the digital world. That is the transaction's highest level of security is provided. There is no other way mechanism which can be provided. There is no other mechanism in the digital world that comprises that much as far as individual is concerned. So one has to ensure that we continue to use the digital signature in our transaction to protect ourselves. It's not for the protection of others, but it's protection of ourselves. That's very, very important. The technology changes, technology way to use it changes, and it is not the only solution. You will find a better solution as we go along, but one is to ensure whatever you use, whatever mechanism you use, protects us, protects our rights, because paper and the pen are going to disappear most of the time. With the digital India, all transactions you are performing and your passport contains everything else, so you need to protect yourself to need to use the digital signature. It's not difficult, it's not that convenient. If an illiterate person can use a mobile phone, can he not use digital signature? What is the big deal about it? He has to press extra couple of buttons. There's nothing more than that. So it's easy to do that. It's only the starting problem. Most of the people were used to, when I met the chief information officer of some of the major banks, they said, no, it's very inconvenient. My people are illiterate, some are very busy, don't have time to do that. I said, it hardly takes, if you can use a computer to log into the system, use your password and change your password, can you not use digital signature which requires another press a couple of buttons to do that? It's easy, but it's a question of taking it, because it's only the mechanism that protects you. No other mechanism protects you. Because at the end of the day, you need to identify yourself to the cyberspace. You need to authenticate yourself. It's me who is doing the transaction. And finally, you need to protect yourself from the transaction by non-repudiation. Non-repudiation is not there means no electronic transaction can be accepted legally in the world. I'm very sure with the technical details which you are going to provide, because I'm no longer a technical person at that time. So whatever I know is the basic, fundamental, some of the aspects and applications. I hope you learn this thing and cross-examine those presentations so that you understand fully the technology and promote in all your applications, because it's the only way to go forward. No other technology will give you any protection in the cyberspace except digital signature. Whether this type of signature or other type of signature, digital signature is the only word that leads you further and makes you happy, protects you in the cyberspace, protect your privacy. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.